When most people think about launching a business, the first thing they do is sit down and write down a list of all the cool things they believe would make for a great business. Unfortunately, this is going about the process backwards, and it's probably why you have a list of cool business ideas collecting dust somewhere in the corner. I want you to actually launch one of these great business ideas you've been dreaming of. So today, we're kicking off a 4-part Side Business Lab Bootcamp series that's going to help you get started with launching that business. First up, I'm going to help you create and generate profitable business ideas and select one that is right for you. A few housekeeping items before we jump into our first lesson. First up, if you're following along, all of these lessons are going to be accompanied by a worksheet that you can download for free in the description box if you're watching here on YouTube, or if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, it will be in the show notes. Second, we also have a Slack group that you can join so we can cheer each other on and share ideas as you are working through this 4-part Bootcamp. If you're new around here, my name is Sewa Ajay-Pele, and I'm a business strategist and the host of the She's Off Script podcast, where we help you create your own unique blueprint for success. So before we dive in, though, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these. Without further ado, let's dive straight into our lesson. Okay, so step 1 in the process is to brainstorm, but we're going to take a 2-pronged approach, an inside-out approach and an outside-in approach. So if you have your worksheets ready or just a random piece of paper or a digital notebook, I want you to separate it into 3 columns. The first being your passions, second being your skills, and the third being your problems. And I'm going to walk you through what needs to go into each of those 3 columns. However, as we're working through this, I want you to have in the back of your mind that the perfect business idea for you is going to be at the intersection of your passions, your skills, and someone else's problem. You may have something in common with the other people who have this problem, but I want you to focus on whether or not anyone else is having this problem. All right? Okay, so in the passions column, I want you to note any hobbies, anything you're passionate about, anything you like to do in your spare time, anything that sparks joy for you. I want you to write in this column. Now, we've probably all heard this before, but not every passion needs to be monetized. Not every passion needs to be turned into a business, because for a lot of people, turning a passion into a business will make that passion lose its shine. So that's not the goal here. However, if you're able to ultimately tie your passion into the business that you launch, there's certainly going to be some bonus points. And I'll show you how that works as we work through this process. But don't edit yourself as you are creating this list. Write everything down, even if it's very pie in the sky, even if you feel like it's not serious enough to be a business or it's not a big enough hobby to be a business, still write it down. Nobody has to see this, so be truthful with yourself as you are going through this exercise. The second column is the skills column. Now, this is a more practical column, and you want to be clear with yourself that these are skills that you have a certain level of expertise at. These are skills that day one, if you were asked to deliver this as a service or a product, you would be able to do it with your eyes closed, hands tied behind your back. This is something you can do in your sleep. This is something that people are always coming to you asking for your help with. I know one of my skills is being able to have difficult conversations and to have them seamlessly and to have them with finesse. It's something that my friends and family will often reach out to me for when they have a challenging conversation or challenging email at work. They'll ask me to edit it before they send it, or they'll ask me to walk them through what they should say for those difficult conversations. I know that's a skill I have, and I speak for a living, so I understand why that worked out well for me. So what is that skill for you that people tend to reach out to you and ask you to do, and it's kind of no sweat off of your brow? You're able to do it seamlessly and with ease. So think through that. What is that skill for you? What's that thing that you've been working on, during your 9 to 5? You've been doing it for the last 10 years. You may or may not love doing it, but it's a skill. Don't edit yourself. Don't start thinking about whether or not you would want to do it as a business. just write down your skills. Okay, so those first two columns were all about an inside out approach. You're kind of being introspective and understanding who you are, what you're passionate about, what you are able to do. However, this is the crucial part. So if you wandered off, listen up. This is where we're going to think about the outside in approach, because the most successful businesses are a solution to a problem that other people are having. And this is probably why at the top of this lesson, I talked about the fact that most people think about brainstorming all the things they think would make cool businesses. And that's probably why they never either get off the ground, or if you've tried it out, it didn't go so well. Nobody purchased the product or service you had simply because you were thinking about, what would I want? However, your business, I'll say it again, needs to be the solution to a problem somebody else or a group of somebody else's are having. So, armed with that knowledge, let's populate the third solutions column, because the solution isn't about us, it's about other people. So, this is what you do. Take each of the skills that you listed out. So in my case, my skill was the ability to have difficult conversations. And what I like to do is go to either YouTube for more service-based businesses, or go to Amazon, for example, if you're going to be offering a product solution. But what I like to do is, first of all, look through YouTube to see what the conversation is around the problems that my skill set could address. So I'm going to walk you through an example live here, and hopefully that helps you figure this out as you do it for each and every one of your solutions. Yes, there is work involved here, but that's how you come up with a viable business idea that you're going to be excited about working on, and that's going to have a great chance of succeeding as you're working on implementing it throughout this 4-week bootcamp. All right, so let's dive into YouTube and take a look at what my example is gonna give us. For this section, we're gonna jump into YouTube. I will share my screen with you, and we're going to search having difficult conversations. I see Mel Robbins has a video on here, and I'm not necessarily interested in the video itself. The comments are the gold mine you're looking for. So first at the top, I see there's a comment from someone who's talking about the fact that she had to have a difficult conversation with an employee who has been struggling with their productivity, and this video was very helpful to her. Someone else, as we scroll down, is talking about the fact that she's preparing for a difficult conversation with her managers. So this is an employee managing up that's having a difficult time, practicing or preparing for that difficult conversation. Who else is in here? What else are people saying about having difficult conversations? These comments are a great way for you to figure out what problems are people having around your skills, and could potentially help you to craft the solution that you offer. Perhaps you're going to be a consultant who goes to corporations and says, I will train your managers to be effective managers and effective communicators as they're having difficult conversations with their employees, as they are giving feedback, so that they can give feedback that allows their employees to really understand and act on the feedback that's being given to them. There are a lot of ways that you could approach this. What else are people saying in the comments? Someone said she's a counselor, and in her professional and human opinion, she supports the suggestions that were made in the video. So perhaps you do watch the video and see what suggestions were being made. Someone said they really needed this because they are avoiding difficult conversations. So this is a way for you to then take the words of people who are experiencing these issues and kind of say it back to them in their own words. So have you ever seen those infomercials at night? I don't know if these still play, but they typically say, have you ever felt like, you want to avoid difficult conversations? This is a solution, right? So the have you ever done X is something that is being experienced by the people you're trying to sell to. And the comments, that's where you find the verbiage to use in order to not only craft your solution, but advertise your solution as well. Okay, so this is exactly what you're going to do as you walk through the different skills you have. Go into YouTube, search for, how to X. So if you're someone who is great at creating budgets in Excel, for example, you would go into YouTube and type out how to create budgets in Excel and see what the comments are. People will say, I was having X problem and your video helped me, right? Or sometimes people will say, hey, could you make another video that explains this portion or also explains something else? And that gives you more ideas about the gaps in the market, things that the solutions that are out there aren't covering. And that, I think, is going to be a great opening for you to craft a solution that isn't already entirely out there. So again, this is going to take a little bit of time. It's a process because if you want to create a business that's worth having, you want to make sure that it has a great foundation. And that's what we're doing during this bootcamp, is making sure that whatever business you launch is built on a solid foundation. So as you're walking through this process, feel free to jump into our Slack channel and let's talk about any questions you have with the process. And I can't wait to see what sorts of problems are aligning with your skills as you're working through them. But ultimately, the final step in this process is going to be to create a link between your skills and the problems that other people are having and the potential solution that you can create to their problems. Now, if you're able to also link those two pieces to your passions, that is just whipped cream and gravy on top. It's not necessary that your passion also aligns to have a successful business. I will say, for longevity of a business, it's probably ideal that it's something that you're passionate about. But I can tell you that from experience, passions can also develop along the way as you are finding that I really love that I'm able to solve the problems of people who seem to need my skills. So as you're working through this, feel free to jump into the Slack channel and let me know if you have any questions. I'm glad that we have this available so you guys can all bounce ideas off of each other and root each other on, because as I said, any business that is worth launching is worth building on a solid foundation. And that is the purpose of this 4-week bootcamp that we're working on, our Side Business Lab Bootcamp. I will let you know that this is only a small portion of our Side Business Lab 8-week accelerator. So the Side Business Lab accelerator that we have takes you from idea to landing your first paid client or customer. So we go through everything, but for the purposes of this bootcamp, we're going to lay a solid foundation for you. Next week, we're going to work on identifying your ideal customer. How do you figure out who that is? Because another critical mistake some people make is having the mentality that if I build it, someone will come, someone will buy it, and they don't know who that somebody is. So we're going to identify who is the ideal customer for the solution that you have to offer so that when you're marketing, you know exactly who to approach and you're not casting a wide net and hoping to pull in somebody who will buy from you. So stay tuned for next week's lesson and episode, and I cannot wait to hear which of your skills you are hoping to turn into a solution for someone who needs it. All right, so don't forget to tag us on Instagram as you're filling out your worksheets. Let me know what has come of the whole process as we're working through this bootcamp. All right, so with that, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode we have in this series. Also, don't forget that we have over 150 audio episodes you can binge listen to on she'soffscript.com or anywhere else audio episodes are available. With that, we'll see you right back here next week for another episode. Thank you for listening in. Bye.